In the ancient land of Israel, as recorded in the Bible, a great conflict arose between God's people and their long-standing enemies, the Philistines. The armies gathered on opposite hills near the valley of Elah, a place that would soon witness one of the most extraordinary moments in history. On one side stood the army of Israel, led by King Saul. Though chosen by God, Saul now found himself gripped with fear. Across the valley stood the Philistines, confident and ready for battle. From their ranks emerged a terrifying champion, Goliath of Gath. He stood over 9 feet tall, his armor weighing heavily upon him, his helmet gleaming in the sun. His voice thundered as he stepped forward each day. "Why do you come out to line up for battle? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he can fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." For 40 long days, morning and evening, Goliath issued this challenge. And for 40 days, fear ruled the hearts of Israel's soldiers. No one stepped forward. Not even Saul. Meanwhile, in the small town of Bethlehem, a young shepherd named David tended his father's sheep. He was the youngest of 8 sons, overlooked by many, but not by God. David spent his days in the fields, singing songs of praise and trusting deeply in the Lord. One day, his father Jesse called him. "Take this food to your brothers," he said, "and bring back news of how they are doing." Obediently, David set out for the battlefield. As he approached the camp, he heard the sounds of war, shouting soldiers, clashing armor, and then, above it all, the mocking voice of Goliath. David watched in disbelief as the mighty army of Israel shrank back in fear. "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine," David asked, "that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Some soldiers scoffed at him. Others warned him to stay quiet. Even his eldest brother grew angry, accusing David of pride and curiosity. But David's heart burned with faith, not fear. When King Saul heard about the young boy asking questions, he called for him. Standing before the king, David spoke with boldness beyond his years. "Let no one lose heart because of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul looked at David, just a boy, and shook his head. "You are not able to go against this man," he said. "You are only a youth, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David replied with confidence, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine." Saul saw something in David, faith that he himself had lost. Reluctantly, he agreed. He placed his royal armor on David, a bronze helmet and a heavy coat. But David could barely walk in it. "I cannot go in these," David said, removing them. "I am not used to them." Instead, David went to a nearby stream. He knelt down and carefully chose 5 smooth stones, placing them into his shepherd's pouch. With his sling in hand and faith in his heart, he stepped forward to face the giant. As David approached, Goliath noticed him, and was insulted. "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks?" he roared, cursing David by his gods. "Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." But David did not tremble. "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin," David declared, "but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day, the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel." The ground seemed to hold its breath. As Goliath moved forward, confident of an easy victory, David did something unexpected. He ran toward the giant. In one swift motion, David reached into his pouch, took out a stone, placed it in his sling, and spun it with precision. The stone flew through the air with deadly accuracy, striking Goliath directly in the forehead. The giant's expression changed from pride to shock. Then he fell, face down on the ground. Silence swept across the valley. David wasted no time. He ran to the fallen giant, took Goliath's own sword, and ended the battle. The impossible had happened. A shepherd boy had defeated a warrior no one else dared to face. When the Philistines saw their champion defeated, fear overtook them. They turned and fled. The army of Israel, now filled with courage, rose up with a mighty shout and chased their enemies from the land. That day changed everything. David returned not as an unknown shepherd, but as a hero. Songs were sung about him throughout Israel. Yet, more importantly, his victory stood as a testimony, not of human strength, but of faith in God. In time, this same David would become the greatest king Israel ever knew. But it all began with a single moment, when a boy chose faith over fear. Moral of the story: true strength does not come from size, power, or weapons, but from trusting in God. Even the smallest person, with great faith, can overcome the greatest giants.